Actually a very good friend of ours, someone that we love dearly and have enjoyed being able to have in our lives. If you have not yet met Sandy McDaniel, you need to spend some time and do so. But I'd like to talk for a moment about her. That Sandy has earned her BA in Speech Communications from the University of Redlands, California. She has 39 years experience in child development, winning the Harmony Awards, National Congress Parents and Teachers Honorary Service Award, so long name, the Golden Apple Self-esteem Service Award, and this I think is my favorite, the Disneyland Community Service Award. That would be so awesome to be able to say that you have. She has been a professional speaker for 20 years to over 300,000 people. She is a parent of 2 kids and has worked in an extension program, Salzburg, Austria, and as a disc jockey, of our radio station. I also know she has some grandchildren who dearly love her. Help me in welcoming Sandy. I'm sorry. This is being sponsored by Intermountain Community Bank.
Yay! Sweet. Thank you. I think somebody just passed out. It's a dartboard-sized picture of me on the front. When I called in and told them I wanted a large picture, I had something different in mind, however. If you have a dartboard, it will be perfect. Just kidding. Gerber, famous for its baby food, went to Africa and took its product to Africa. And what they did was they didn't do their research ahead of time. Because what they did is they used the same label they have always used with a cute little baby on the front. I have one in my car. I just realized that's where it is. But the same little baby that's been there forever. And they use that label. Problem is that because so many people don't read in Africa, aren't able to read, that what they do in Africa is they put on the label what's inside the jar. I'll let that sink in. So that product, they lost many millions of dollars in that choice. To just adapt was a story that was in the Idaho Women's Journal. Pictures on the label indicate what's inside. I'm not sure we do that in this society. There's a lot of information about what to do with wrinkles, getting rid of wrinkles, dark circles under the eyes, longer eyelashes, what to do when you lose one earring, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, I've kind of skipped those chapters because, I'm 70, and I've earned my wrinkles. I have 2 children and 4 grandchildren. This is the color of my hair. When you chase that many kids around, that's what happens. So I'm not doing a very good job, and some of my friends will tell you I'm not the best dresser in town. I think it's so cool to move to a place where you wear sweatshirts and jeans all the time. It's like, is this heaven? So I haven't really paid as good attention to those things as I might have. But what I have earned is what's inside the jar. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's look at 4 keys, or a few keys, to personal success and professional success. First, we will begin with don't judge a jar by its label. We are so quick to judge each other. We are so quick to pass that little momentary judgment in our minds. We are so quick to think the least of somebody rather than the most of somebody. When I moved to the Treasure Valley, some people thought I was braggy and arrogant. How do I know that? I have spies. I was deeply afraid. I had enormous debts and came face to face with the Parenting with Love and Logic program, which was embraced by all the schools and many of the churches. I couldn't get work. I didn't know anybody or where the heck I was. I couldn't get work. I'm going to say that again because that was really scary for me. I went to Costco to have a hot dog and to get some company. One of the smartest things I did was join the Idaho Business Women's Network. Oh yeah. You have no idea how much I love all of you.
We love
You became my first friends here. And saved my life, my emotional life. Don't judge a jar by its label. A friend of mine asked me to go to a party over the holidays, and I reluctantly accepted. I'm not very good at social stuff, so I was like, I don't really want to. But I was desperate. I wanted to meet some new people. And I was quickly introduced to Kathy, a brightly dyed, red-headed woman who was near my age zone. She seemed really nervous and looked like she watched movies as a way of life. Turns out, this lady is a dog whisperer. She takes dogs that have been emotionally harmed, she fixes them, and then finds families for them. When she was younger, she used to go down the tip of Baja, California, and camp by herself. Had I not looked into her blue eyes and judged the jar by the label, I might have deprived myself of a friendship that I would not trade for anything in the world. Don't judge a jar by its label. Don't compare yourself to others. That's the killer bee. That's what we do. You know, you walk in a party and you didn't dress up enough. And it's like, I come from Newport Beach, California, so I've done that, you know, where I got the wrong message and I walk in and I'm totally dressed wrong. Well, what are you going to do? Go home? I wanted to go home, but I didn't want to come in the first place. But at some point, you just say to yourself, what the heck? I'm here. Nobody looked at me and went, wow, flip-flops and shorts, you weren't thinking. I mean, nobody's could care less. And so I would have compared myself and ruined the whole time. And I didn't. By then, I was kind of learning how to be social, so I was doing okay by then. But don't compare yourself. I have a friend whose name is Felice Leonardo Buscaglia. Unfortunately, he passed away recently. But Leo Buscaglia wrote a wonderful book called Love. That's the title of the book. If you haven't read it, you might look it up. It's old. It's an old-time book. But it's a brilliant book about what? About love. Loving yourself, loving each other. Leo was a friend of mine, and he used to say, listen, if you're an orange and you want to be you're looking at somebody who's a banana, and you want to be them, the best you can be is a second-rate banana. It is funny, you can laugh. But it's such a great idea. He's a wonderful guy. He's Italian, and he was a professor at USC, and he taught a class on love that was packed every year, and he didn't get paid for it. He did it just despite the administration, because they said he couldn't, they wouldn't pay for it. He said, I'll teach it anyway. It was jammed every year. Every year. This amazing guy who couldn't talk without his hands, and he would talk like this. And if you were in a small room with him, you felt like all the air was used up by him. He said to me, we were walking on the beach one day, and I said, Sandy, what do you want to do? And having a little flair for the drama and dramatic, I said, I want to change the world. He said, cool. So we walked along. Pretty soon he said, pick up a rock. I picked it up and we walked down the beach for quite a while. And then he said, drop the rock. And then he says, now, you can relax. I've had so much help getting here. For my 70th birthday last October, my lifelong friend Leslie, who lives on Catalina Island, gave me a remarkable book called She. If you haven't seen this book, you might look it up. Kobe Yamada is the author of the book. I'm going to use quotes from this for the rest of the talk. She saw every ending as a new beginning. She woke up one morning and threw away all her excuses. Whenever it snows, I'm known to say, "No two are alike. Can you imagine that? No two of them are alike." I wrote a poem which follows that theme. Can it be? The snowflake has no duplicate. I stand in a snowstorm watching quietly as billions of flakes drift downward. No two are the same. No two are alike. Having done this, you will understand the nature of my smile when someone asks, "Do you believe in miracles?" Can it be? Each person has no duplicate. I sit in a stadium watching, thinking as thousands of people surround me. No two are just the same. Having done this, you will understand the nature of my joy in fully realizing that I am indeed a miracle. Thank you. On the second page of your handout, I have given you a copy of that and signed it, so you have your own copy. Recently, I was a teacher and counselor at the Idaho State Snow Camp for children for the deployed families. This is my new passion. So I have taken off and Chrissy, who is going to be the keynote speaker in the morning, her husband and I have fallen in love on the side. No, I've helped them and been babysitting for them and helping them with how to raise their children discipline-wise. So they're a part of my huge mission, which is going to take off, and I'm going to be going all over the state, helping families. And at this weekend, I was at a snow camp, and I had just finished teaching the third hour of a Making Good Choice class for kids who were 10 through 16 years old. And I was in the end of the third hour when 3 officers walked into the back of the class. And so I had just said to the kids, "Okay, you're done." And then I was like, "Oops." I said, no, come on, sit down. And taking a huge risk, I said, "What have you learned?" One boy got up, and it was so beautiful. I mean, this is when you wish you had a camera. He said, "I'm the only one going through my whole life with me, so I need to take care of me." And I, taking a huge risk again, said, "What does that mean?" The kids came jumping out of their chairs, and the next few minutes were mind-boggling. What I'm going to do with you is take my version of answering that question. I am the only one going through my life, and I need to take care of me. What does that mean? Obviously, you're going to eat right, exercise, drink lots of water. We all know and abuse all of those things. Okay, we know those things. But the other thing is don't go against yourself. And one of the hardest things to teach kids, and I'm going to do it for the first time today with adults with you, is an idea. When you go against yourself, when you say yes to something you want to say no to, when you don't stand up for yourself, you erode your ability to have self-trust and self-worth to make an important decision. Let's do it. Last page of your handout says self-trust and self-worth. Just tear that page off, please. And hold it in your hands. Everybody has a certain amount of self-worth and self-trust. All right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that you did something. If you would feel a little bit badly, if you did that, tear off a little piece. If you would feel a lot badly, if you do what I say, tear off a big piece. Little piece, big piece, don't want your neighbor. I'm not going to do it with you, so you copy me. It's just an exercise. What you might do is tear it off and just put it on the table in front of you. At the next break, we'll clean up the mess, so don't worry about the mess you're going to make, okay? You're going to have a bunch of pieces of paper. You have the whole paper. Your self-trust and your self-worth is in your hands. Here are the things that you did. Where are they? Okay. You ate a second piece of chocolate cake. Tear off a piece of paper. Don't talk about it, just do it. You screamed at your kid, if you have a kid, when you were mad at your husband or your friend. So you can translate it. You screamed at somebody you love when you were mad at somebody else. Don't talk. When your friend called and asked you to go to the movie, you just wanted to chill and stay home. You didn't want to go. And you said yes because you were afraid she'd get angry with you. You lied to your husband or your friend about something that you did or didn't do. You looked in the mirror and hated what you saw. Goodbye, Kipper. You were impatient with your mother or your father or somebody you loved. Now, here comes the big decision. You want to go with your friends to the empowering women's conference. It's going to cost some money, it's going to cost some time, somebody's going to have to babysit. There's a whole bunch of stuff around you taking time for you. Now, take the piece of paper that's left and just hold it up away from you. Compared to what you had in the beginning, self-trust, self-worth. This is how much self-trust and self-worth you have to make that decision. Nada. She has nada, nothing in her hands. She's toast. She's not going to the conference because she doesn't have enough self-trust and self-worth to make a decision. It's not a right or wrong. It doesn't matter if you have a big piece or a little piece. What matters is that every time you go against your instinct of knowing the right thing to do, you erode your ability to say yes to things that enhance your life. Say yes if this is really clear to you.
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, you can put the trashy paper wherever you want. From the book. I'll pick them up there. She remained true to herself. What somebody thinks of you is none of your business. I'm not here to impress anybody or depress anybody. I came to Idaho to find myself for no other reason. What does that mean? I think we have survival skills that teach us to adapt and conform and to live a safe life. You become someone else's version of us, which is what I did. How's your self-esteem? I've written this adult self-esteem book called Leave Your Baggage at the Door, which Kim will do a commercial for after I'm done, because I'll get in trouble with you. But I have written a self-esteem book, so I'm qualified to talk about self-esteem. Self-worth is a picture you have about yourself. Self-esteem is how you feel about that picture. We did a program for children. We had to have a model. So what we did with the model was we had 2 legs to stand on. If you have 2 legs to stand on, you're pretty resilient to the ups and downs of life. I could stand here a really long time. But if I can only stand on 1 leg, well, you're just listening. Would you stand up, please? If you don't feel like it and you don't want it, don't stand up. What did I just say a minute ago? Maybe stand up. Okay. Pick up. Yeah, see, you got no paper, just stand up to me, right? Pick up 1 foot and just stand on it. The lady who's pregnant can use the table.
She just said she had good soup apples.
Dum, 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 dum. You're starting to go. Now you put your hand down on the table. Some of you have even quit. All right, put your feet, 4 feet down. You can sit up. What happens when doesn't wobble. They start to cheat, they complain. Something wrong with the system. Somebody else's fault. We take other people down with us. We wreck our whole entire lives. What are the two legs? Lovable and capable. Lovable and capable. This comes from a program called Project Self-esteem that another lady and I created in the mid-'80s. And so, lovable and capable. Okay, so loved, lovable. Loved, appreciated, accepted. Really important. Loved for who you are. If you don't know me, then you don't know. I teach parenting. That's mostly what I do. And what I'm working with parents on is loving the children the way they are, not trying to recreate themselves and their issues in the children. But to be loved by who you are is an extraordinary gift. Do you realize how beautiful you are? I've written a children's book. I've written a bunch of children's books, but this is the one I'm going to read to you. It's called You Are Beautiful. As it crawled along a branch, an ant said, "You're hogging the branch, worm. I'm not a worm, I'm a caterpillar." "Whatever," the ant exclaimed. "I mean, I feel sorry for you being all ugly and crawly, but there's just not enough room on this branch for us." The caterpillar went under the branch so that the ant would stop talking. Ugly, the caterpillar thought. This is the second time I've been called ugly. I wonder if I am. The caterpillar crawled over to the place where Owl lives. Everyone knows that owls are wise. "Ant says I'm ugly," caterpillar moaned. "Am I ugly, Owl?" Owl sat for a moment and then said, "What is ugly to one person is beautiful to another. Some people think that something is different from them is ugly. It is best not to worry about what other people think. It's what you think that matters." The caterpillar stretched itself out. "I know this sounds kind of funny, but I always thought I could fly. Like, just at the right moment I could fly down to that flower." Owl was quiet for a moment. "I think you need to feel yourself flying and hold on to that idea. When the moment is right, you will fly." A few days later, Caterpillar had a strange feeling. It had an urge to hang upside down on a branch and go to sleep. Somewhere in the middle of a very deep sleep, Caterpillar awoke. It was dark. There was no light anywhere. Caterpillar felt really different. What it knew was that it needed to get out of the darkness. The caterpillar was weak. Every movement required effort. It chewed a tiny little piece out of the wall in front of it. Light, lots of light. So it chewed again. For many hours, the caterpillar chewed at the wall and then rested. It began to feel really different, like there were parts of itself it could feel for the first time. Finally, Caterpillar was outside of the darkness, the cool breeze blowing over its body. "I don't feel long, I feel tall," the caterpillar thought. "And some part of me is moving up and down." For some time, the caterpillar sat in the sun, moving in a way it could not remember moving before. And then it happened. The caterpillar was flying. Up, down, sideways, flying. When the caterpillar flew over to Owl, Owl seemed delighted. "You did it!" Owl screeched. "Did what?" the caterpillar asked. "Remembered who you really are," Owl responded. "You did. Why don't you fly over that pond down by the water and then come back and we'll talk." Caterpillar flew down over the pond, wondering why Owl wanted it to do so. Then it saw the most amazing thing, a butterfly. A beautiful winged butterfly. Caterpillar moved left and the butterfly moved left. Caterpillar moved right and the butterfly moved right. Left, right, left, right. "That's me! I'm a butterfly!" The caterpillar, who wasn't a caterpillar anymore, was so excited. "Owl, look! I'm a beautiful butterfly." Owl smiled, saying, See, you are always beautiful on the inside, and it's the inside that counts. Beauty is on the inside, therefore, no exceptions. You are beautiful. This is my favorite quote. She discovered she was the one she had been waiting for. I'm going to say it again. She discovered she was the one she had been waiting for. The other leg is capable, able to do something well. The killer bee of feeling capable is criticism. My mother, God bless her, she died almost a year ago from Alzheimer's disease. She was an Olympic criticizer. So what I took on was that I could do nothing right. Nothing was good enough. Was ever good enough for me, never mind good enough for her. So what I want you to do now is, most messages that come from you that are negative come with the word Y-O-U is the first word. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say some things to you. What I want you all to repeat is this. No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person. I'm going to say it again. No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person. Join me whenever you want to. No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person. No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person. One more. No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person. Here are your childhood messages. You're thoughtless.
No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person.
Awesome. You're stupid.
No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person.
Don't drop it now. You're lazy.
No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person.
You're not good in school.
No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person.
You're fat.
No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person.
You won't ever amount to anything.
No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person.
You're just like your
No matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person.
All right. I used to go around with knives in the kitchen, mainly because I'm dramatic. And so something would happen, somebody, some criticism, when I wrote the column for the newspaper, I get hate mail. And I go around tapping things, and no matter what you say or do, I'm still a worthwhile person. Yeah. You know? Look crazy, act crazy, it doesn't matter. I was trying to override my childhood. I was trying to say to myself, it doesn't matter whether you get me or not. It doesn't matter whether you like me or not. It doesn't matter if I make a mistake, I'm going to make a ton of them. I'm still a worthwhile person. It's a wonderful phrase to take home with you. All right, so she said goodbye to unhealthy relationships, particularly with herself. Don't carry your past into the future. Learn from your mistakes. Some are horrible. And let's see, I'm on the wrong one. That's why there's a mistake. Learn from your mistakes. Nothing is unforgivable. Every person in your past is doing the best that they could do with whatever they were given. I'm going to say that because everybody in your past was doing the best they could do at the time with what they were given. No parent I know ever gets up in the morning and says, wonder what I could do to mess up my kid's life today. They tried. They didn't love you. They didn't know how. Did you hear me? They didn't know how. And now it's your job to let that go. Everybody has a story. Some are horrible. And the fear in this moment is the only reason to keep this story alive. The fear of being happy, the fear of being loved, the fear of being successful. We hold on to the story so that we can't go forward. Let it go. You don't need to keep the story alive as proof that you had a difficult journey or that you were harmed. Or to keep it as a reason not to fully embrace your life right now. Release the past. Some people think it's necessary to carry the past with them. I think it's important to release the past and write a new story. Sometimes it helps to be able to see the influences from the past. In your packet you have, which should be the last page, a page that says prison words and freedom words. Tear it off, please. Fold it in half lengthwise, and then fold it in half again. I don't care how you do it. You can do it any way you want, so you end up with 4 squares. You're going to end up, when you open it, with 4 squares. Okay? In one of the squares, I don't care which one, write as one of the topics, work, W-O-R-K. I have a chart on this and I brought it. Nobody died, I don't have to hate myself. W-O-R-K, work. We'll write in another one of the squares, self, S-E-L-F. Write in another one of the squares, relationship. These are topics. And write in the last square, parents or home. Now, what you're going to do is there are prison words and freedom words. They're at the top of the page. Dorothy Corporal Briggs, who was also a friend of mine, has these in her book, Celebrate Yourself, but she was also a friend of mine. And these are one of the ways that I've got myself to be such a clear writer. If you say these words, should, ought, must, have to, or anybody, to people, what they do is immediately defend themselves. Because most people were should upon when they were kids. Many people have hardening of the arteries because they were kids. Okay? Those are kind of old jokes, but they were. Obviously, some people left. If your parents, your grandparents, whoever said to you, Sandy, you should. It doesn't matter what you're going to say next time when I want to street fight you. Because it's a implication, it's an injunction. It isn't an invitation, even if it sounds like it. So we want to get rid of our shoulds, but this is a great way for you to find out where you have shoulds. So under the titles that I gave you, you write, I should. I wrote, I should be on time each day. This is work. Under self, I put, I should be patient with myself. Under relationship, I put, I should listen more. These are all true, by the way. Parents or home, I should be more consistent. Some of you don't have children, so I was trying to keep the categories broad. So you go through and you pick some of the prison words and write sentences. When you're all done, and you can do this, finish it at home if you want, go back and take the word, the prison word, and cross it out, just an X. So instead of I should be on time each day, I'm going to pick one of the freedom words. Wish, want, prefer, choose, or desire. Choose is such a hard word. I was with the guru of self-esteem, one of the great book writers of the time, and he said, Sandy, do you think you ever choose, you don't choose to do something, you do something you don't choose to do? And I, thinking that I was so freaking smart, said, well, no, yeah, I do housework. I don't choose to do housework. And he was just out fishing, and he caught me, so in front of everybody. And he said to me, okay, so why don't you do housework? Well, I have children, and I don't want them to live in chaos, and I don't want to model for them the book and stuff. Well, then you choose to do housework. No, I have to do it. He said, okay, well, that's another one of those words. You have to? Actually, you choose to. Now, why do you choose to again? Well, I don't want to, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get out, because I know he hasn't. It's like, in front of everybody. And so I'm trying to figure out how to outfox him, but he can't outfox him because the truth of the matter is, I choose to do housework because I don't want the mess. I don't want it to get messier. I don't want to model that for my children. I don't really care. If you come to my house is a mess, that's your problem, not mine. You know, it's like meet me in a cafeteria if that bothers you. And so that isn't one for me, but it might be one for you, what other people think, you know. And so, but I choose to. But the difference is this should, must, and have to. These are injunctions, these are things that we fight inside, where if you just change your words, if you read my books or my columns or anything I write, you will not find the words should, must, have to, or anybody in them. Because I'm trying to build a bridge between people with my communication. So why don't you just do a couple of them so that you can do a couple of them and I shut up for a minute and you can experience it. First, take a prison word and write it in a sentence under each of the categories. And maybe do one more and then go back and edit them and put in a freedom word. If you don't understand, you can raise your hand and somebody next to you might be able to help or add. Yeah, but really, you can't be funnier than I am, so stop laughing. Just kind of finish up. If you haven't gotten to the editing part, we'll edit them now. And I'll give you another 1 minute. You can finish these later, but would you finish writing what you're writing? And then look at me, please. If you're facilitating things with people, if you tell people to look at you now and they're in the middle of a sentence, they'll keep going. So it's better to do that, let them finish, or you don't have them. I have almost everybody looking at me now. You can work on this more on your own. But of all the things I was like a workshop junkie because I was trying to straighten out my life. Of all the things that I did, this one really, really took shape for me because I could see the injunctions I had on myself. And then the other part is that I have definitely my own style of writing. And one of the reasons that people like the way I write is because there are none of those hidden things in there, that injunctions that annoy people, make them want to strike. They might want to street fight me for what I say, not how I say it. And I'm okay with that. So this is a wonderful exercise. In terms of she loved life, and it loved her right back. She pursued big dreams instead of small realities. She turned her can'ts into cans and her dreams into plans. She decided to enjoy more and endure less. If you know me, you know that I moved here because of, for 3 reasons. If I'm with my grandson Nicholas and somebody says, "Why did you move to Idaho?" He'll look at him and smile and he'll say, "We were the bait." They were the bait. And now we have another one. So I have Nicholas, who's 6, Chelsea, who's 3, and Evan, who is 11 months tomorrow. And they were enough of a reason for me to take 68 years of living in one place and a business that was fine and come here. Although it has been extremely difficult to be here and adjust here and make a living here, I have not regretted it for 1 second. I have a sweatshirt, one of my many sweatshirts. I have a sweatshirt that has a bunch of children on them. It's a darling sweatshirt and an adult. And my grandchildren were fighting over which child they were, okay? So they were having, no, I want to be that one, I want to be that one, I want to be that one. Like, we were all sitting right there because I have the sweatshirt on. And finally I said to Chelsea, "Well, if you want to be those, who do I get to be?" And she looked at me, she's 4. She says, "You know what, Bam? It's your sweatshirt, so you can be whichever one you want." Chelsea was the one who, when my mother died, and we went up to the local mountains to do a memorial service, and I drove up in front, and she came running out, and she threw her arms around me. I hadn't even gotten out of the car yet. And she said, "Oh, Pam, is your heart very, very sad today?" And I said, "Well, you know what, Chelsea?" I said, "I'm so glad my mom doesn't have to be sick anymore. And you know what? I think she's up wherever she goes in heaven with God. And they're having a huge party." And she pulled her head off my chest and she said, "What, balloons?" And I said, "They can't have a party without balloons." And I said, "Of course they're having balloons." And I said, "You know what?" And she put her head back. I said, "You know what, Chelsea, I'm going to cry today because my mommy and I were really good friends and I'm going to miss her." And Chelsea pulled her sweet head off my chest. She looked at me and she said, "Oh, Bam, I will try to catch every single tear." Ooh, can I only not feel that one? Aye. Nicholas has been helping me with the military families, and he goes with me when I go to some of the families. And we went to see this guy who's in the National Guard, and he walked in and handed this guy this big envelope. Now, mind you, I didn't even know he did it. And this huge guy, huge meaning huge to me, I'm big, but he is big. This huge guy pulls this thing out of this envelope, and it's a red, white, and blue drawing that he had done, and it said, "Thank you, spelled wrong. Thank you, okay? He pulls it out, and he started to shake, and his eyes got full of tears. And he turned and he said to his wife, "Look what he made for me." And Nick instinctively just went and wrapped his arms around this big guy's leg. And when we were going out, I said to Nicholas, because he had done several interactive things with this soldier who had come home but was frozen because of the things that he'd seen and done, and that's part of what we're doing. is helping them to thaw out. But I said to Nick, we're walking out, and I said, Nick, did you see Skeeter's face when you handed him that picture? And he said, yeah, he got his eyes full of tears, and he almost cried. And I said, Nick, I said, love is the greatest healer on this planet. You did something really good today. He nodded his head very matter-of-factly. And he goes with me on these things because, not to please me, because he knows that love is the greatest healer on this planet and that he has a job. He's an amazing kid. I hope it's my grandson. My granddaughter, Haley Kay, I was talking to my daughter, and she said that Haley Kay she lives in California, had a bad day that day. And I said, how so? And she said some of the kids were mean to her. She's quite tall, bigger than tall and big, and she's got a little bit of a speech problem, and she had moved to a new school. So some of the kids were being mean to her, and her mom had suggested that she be snarky back. And Haley Kay said, oh no, Mama. She says, I don't want to be unkind to anybody. She said, I've learned that from you and from Bam, that's me. So I called her when I heard, and I said, I heard about your choice today, and I think it's so important that we're kind to each other and that we love each other. But that had to be a hard thing to do. And she said, it wasn't that hard. She said, I really don't want to be mean to anybody. These are my beautiful, beautiful grandchildren whom I adore. And after telling a couple of stories, you have a pretty good idea why I moved here. On my 70th birthday, I wrote the following to my friends and family. What have I learned in 70 years? Life is good. God is my source for everything. You are never alone, even if you're the only person in your boat. Believe in your dreams. A true friend cannot be replaced. Time can be spent, but not respent. Each day is a slate that you can erase and write over or replay the old. The past is a teacher, not a yoke to be worn forever. Nothing is unforgivable. Inside of silence is where all the answers are. Faith is a word, just a word, unless you practice it. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. Everything that happened to you is a gift waiting to be discovered and released. Trust yourself, value yourself. You are an unrepeatable gift to the universe. My parents did the best that they could do and were the best that they could be. Being mom is such a difficult job. I wasn't the parent I wanted to be. And the parent I was good enough. Remember to love the people who are the most difficult to love. They are the ones who need it the most. It costs nothing to be kind to someone. The world won't get better unless we make it better. Life is the question, love is the answer. There's more, and I'll save it for, God willing, and the creek don't rise next year. Personal business success, be you. Do you have a gift to give the world? Be you. She made the world feel like home. She made the world a better place. Don't compromise. Don't make excuses. You want a successful life?